Hey guys, how's it going? So, I wanted to make this video to talk about something pretty positive, I would say, about Epic 7 recently. I know I've done some more negative videos and how I've not been a huge fan of the Valor season, but I think this is something that is definitely worthwhile talking about. Something I think is really cool is Smilegate's been experimenting a lot recently. You may have noticed that the summer event that we got recently with Summer Lulica and Leafy had a lot of really cool stuff. They spliced up the story into a separate thing that you could just skip through and then get to the action. They're trying to do the side stories a little bit differently than they were before, which I think is great because the old style of doing like a battle story constantly, and then getting kind of whatever rewards wasn't really that great. But the summer event, it was like more efficient than actual hunt event, so people were grinding really hard. I think once we got past the whole imprint debacle, everyone was actually really satisfied and happy with the event too. I think it was a great step in the right direction, and I think it's great that they tested out, and I hope we get more stuff like that in the future. And now, as you can see on the screen right here, we have this other event. This Brawl event, which is essentially TFT from League of Legends, I thought was really awesome, honestly. I know some people aren't the biggest fans of it. They think maybe you have to do too many runs, or you know, maybe they're just not really into the game mode and having to do this stuff is just kind of a pain. It doesn't take energy, which is really good, but it does take some time, and there's some luck and strategy involved. I mean, that's how TFT essentially works overall, right? And initially, like, I'm not really into TFT. I'm not really a fan of it. I'm not interested in it at all, but playing it in an Epic 7 format I thought was pretty fun. It was really cool having the different regions, so you'd have like a Policia team or like a Rengar team, etc. I thought it was really cool. And all of the different class types. I actually thought it fit really well into Epic 7, and the fact that every week they're going to be adding more characters. So like this week we got the City Lord team with like Lilius, Kawazu, and Furious, for instance. I almost think it has some potential, and some people have said this, other people say like, get me away from this, I don't want to deal with this mode, but I think it would be interesting if Epic 7 actually was experimenting more like this in the future, and they've been doing a good job recently, and I hope that they continue to do so. I think that there's a lot of potential for Epic 7 to possibly expand, and now I think it's very different from something like what Hoyoverse does. So when I play a game like Honkai Star Rail, for instance, I get very frustrated that a lot of the content that they release is not using my characters. And so you could say something like this TFT mode is the same. Like, what's the point of pulling these characters, building them, etc., if you're just doing a mode that doesn't really use them, right? I understand that frustration, but at the same time, I think that adding more modes to the game has a lot of merit in Epic 7 because we have, you know, RTA as the kind of main end game, but having other things like this could be really, really cool, honestly. Having other modes like a TFT mode with rotating stuff, I think it has some potential, and I think they have the baseline here, which is great. And for instance, with the summer event as well, like that's the baseline for maybe kind of advanced versions of hunts and other stuff like that, which I think is really, really cool. I'm glad that Smilegate is trying things out, and I think so far they've been succeeding. Even if you're not the biggest fan of either of the events, I think it's great at least that they're trying these things out, and maybe the next event is going to be something even cooler that we really, really enjoy. So I'm really happy that they're doing this, and I think there's so much potential for different modes or just improvements. The whole format of the story type things that we used to have was kind of just crummy, and they actually improved on it and changed it, which is awesome. I think that this TFT mode actually has potential to be a full game mode. They could possibly just add a ton of characters. I mean, they have all the character models essentially already in the game. They're all right here, right? So they could actually just constantly add to it and make seasons and all that kind of stuff. And I think that could be an alternate game mode overall for Epic 7. I think, you know, maybe you might not be the biggest fan of it. Some individuals are really not into it, but just as a whole, I think it's a good addition to the game. So this brings me to my next point of what can Smilegate add next? What other things are they going to do? Are they just going to keep trying to improve upon different types of storytelling by, you know, having the story as one part and then like kind of an event that you run constantly as the other part? Are they going to do more stuff like the summer event in this, or are they going to start making some really cool modes? I'm really happy that Smilegate's actually doing this, because for all the criticism that I give them, I do try to be as fair as I possibly can. Now, I'm not a fan of some of their decisions on balance or some of the seasons or even some of the things done with the World Cup exactly. I'm not always the biggest fan, but I will give props where props are due. And I think they've been doing a really good job improving new player experience. I think they've been doing a great job experimenting with these things as well. And I really hope they continue to do it in the future, because these are kind of the kind of ideas that we need for the game to really progress. We need new, fresh stuff into the game. If you just have more of the same, then it gets boring. A lot of what people say is if you just add a new character, that's not really content, right? If you just add a new character every few weeks, like, sure, people get to try out the character, but that's not really much content for people to run or people to experience. But when you add new things like this, like a whole game mode, I think it adds a lot more for everybody. And I think a lot of people become a lot more interested. They're like, oh, did you hear about this new mode? And people like trying stuff out and building different teams and all those kind of things. There's guides online of how to run this kind of stuff, which, I mean, frankly, I think that's a little too much, but still, that's cool, right? It means people are really into it. People are really trying to learn, etc., etc. I think that's awesome. So I would really like to see a lot more of this. Good job, Smilegate. Thank you for doing these kinds of things. I hope that they continue to do well with this kind of stuff in the future, and I'm actually very excited for more of this. I can't believe I'm actually excited for a character event story, which used to be one of the most boring and annoying things ever, of just running the same stage over and over and getting junk, essentially, but just trying to clear out the shop so you don't get fear of missing out. This is 100 times better than that ever has been. And even though the rewards for this aren't insane, they're still decent rewards overall, and it costs 0 energy. That's a huge improvement. You can use all that energy towards hunts or whatever you want. So please, Smilegate, please continue doing this kind of stuff. And I just gotta say, like, even if not everyone's the biggest fan of this particular one, I think we all as a community probably appreciate it. And it's really, really great. So anyways, I just wanted to talk about this real quick because I thought it was something really great and positive that Smilegate's been doing. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like or subscribe to the channel, and I hope to see you next time.